Hey there, pirates! Welcome aboard the Anime No Me channel. There's something that seems to be stitching itself between the lines of everything happening in the manga right now. Because with the leak of Chapter 1151, you can already sense a shift in the air. And it's not just in the battles or the revelations, it's in the encounters that for some reason are starting to feel too natural. And that's where this thought, which hasn't left my head since I read that line from Loki saying, "They need my power after all," comes in. Because man, this Loki, he doesn't feel like a background character anymore, so let's get to it. I think Loki is going to end up joining Luffy. He might even join the Straw Hat crew. Yeah, it might seem off track at first, but if you stop and look at the whole journey from back in Whole Cake Island to this chaos in Elbaf, you'll see that it's been slowly building up, like one of Sanji's dishes that nobody knows how he made. But in the end, it makes perfect sense. The first thing that comes to mind is how Loki was just a mention. A prince from Elbaf who, apparently, was supposed to marry Lola, which was already funny on its own, but Oda never throws in a name without a reason. We thought he was just some royal background character, but his name, Loki, already gave us clues. It's the name of a chaotic, unpredictable figure, and the fact that he never really showed up only made it stronger. The idea that when he did show up, it would be to change the game. And now, in Elbaf, his name is there again, but with more weight, more presence, and now with responsibility. In the leak of Chapter 1151, when Mosa calls Loki for the last time and thanks him, I think that gratitude carries more than it seems. Maybe she knows he's going to take a path that the other giants won't immediately understand. Maybe she knows he's about to dive into something where he'll have to pick a side, and it's not going to be the side of the ancient gods or the kings of the ages. It's going to be the side of the crazy Straw Hat pirates. Because there's something that only Luffy seems to pull off. People who were supposed to be enemies or rivals end up by his side. Not because he convinced them with speeches or promises, but because his heart shouts something that no one else is shouting: freedom. And Loki, even though he's a prince, seems tired of the formalities, the obligations. That line, "They need my power after all," sounds more like someone who's been waiting for the right moment to step in. Like that player who's been on the bench all season, and now, when the team is almost losing, he stands up and says, "Okay, my turn." And if we look at Elbaf's situation now, with the giants turning into demons, nightmares emerging from the children, and Emu launching hockey attacks that even Luffy can feel, there's no time left for hesitant royalty. If you want to help, you have to step up now, and Loki steps up. Additionally, Luffy didn't react to him like he was a stranger, and Loki didn't act distant either. That kind of immediate connection is rare, but it always happens with someone who ends up becoming a strong ally. It was like that with Brook, with Jinbe, with Law, even though he was a rival at first, and now with Gaban, who was already on their side without anyone noticing. The reveal of YA as Scopper Gaban was huge, and funny how Oda dropped that bomb almost casually, but with enough weight to say, "You thought this arc was just going to be about fights? Well, here's some legacy building for you." And that's where everything starts to tie together. Gaban is back, Luffy feels his presence with a smile like he already knew, and Chopper saved him in the past. This shows that old and new bonds are mixing. Roger's past is merging with Luffy's future, and Loki, being the Prince of Elbaf, a land tied to legendary pirates like Dory and Brogy, who are now allies of Luffy, is at the center of this whirlwind. I think Loki doesn't just want to help, he wants to belong, and the only place that can truly offer that without demanding titles or duties is the Straw Hat crew. And look, Oda already said in the SBS that there are characters he always wanted to give more space to, but they would only get their moment at the end. Maybe Loki is one of them. Someone he planted way back with the excuse of Lola, but who is only now going to fully blossom as one of those characters you realize was meant to be part of the climax all along. So if we put the pieces together, the current chaos, the urgency of the battle, Loki's words, his behavior, Oda's pattern with unexpected allies, and how Luffy attracts powerful figures who are at a turning point, everything screams that Loki is going to do more than just help. Maybe he'll go along with them, and if he does, he might not come back. Maybe he'll realize that his place isn't to rule Elbaf, it's to sail with those he wants to protect, even if that means crossing the world with a pirate who stretches and laughs too loudly. Because in the end, maybe Loki just wants to be free too. In part 2, I'm going to explore what it would be like for Loki to travel with the crew, what role he'd have, how his relationship with the other Straw Hats would be, and what Oda might be preparing with this for the end of One Piece. If he really has placed Loki on Luffy's side, things are going to get interesting. Because he won't just be an ally, he'll be another adventure brother. Luffy is the kind of guy who attracts people. We've known that since the beginning of the story. But now, in the new world, it's escalated to another level. Luffy doesn't just attract powerful or crazy people. He attracts people who are at a breaking point. People who need to choose a new path. That was the case with Law, with Robin back then, with Jinbe, with Yamato, even though he hasn't fully joined yet. And Loki, he's at the same point. He's a prince of a people who are literally literally being corrupted, turned into demons, invaded by nightmarish dreams. And then comes Luffy, with the power of a sun god, smiling in the middle of chaos. Gaban reappearing, Chopper protecting, and Imu unleashing Conqueror's haki that makes even the giants tremble. So much is happening that someone like Loki can't help but feel something different inside him. And I keep thinking, if Luffy can feel Gaban, as was mentioned in this chapter, and starts to understand what's going on, it shows that Luffy is beyond what we saw before. He's not just the kid who wants to be Pirate King. He's beginning to comprehend the world at the level of the greats, maybe even at Roger's level. And then Loki looks at this and realizes he's not the protagonist of his own story, but he can help someone who is. And to me, that's where everything starts to make sense. Because Loki might be a prince, sure, but what does he really want? Marry someone just to form an alliance between nations? Stay stuck in Elbaf's traditions while watching the world get swallowed up by Imu, by ancient gods, by dream creatures turning into nightmares? Number, if Loki is the kind of character Oda likes to build quietly in the shadows, then he's just been waiting for the right moment to take the helm, to jump ship from tradition to the crew of chaos and freedom. And what ship represents that better than Luffy's? Maybe he doesn't even need to become an official Straw Hat. Maybe he just sails with them for a while, like Law did during Dressrosa and Zoo. But if he does become one, I wouldn't complain. And honestly, I think it would make even more sense than most people realize. He could be a formidable warrior. We haven't seen him in action yet, but based on the leaks, that moment is coming. He could play a key role as a giant, since Elbaf is clearly a major piece on the board right now, and he could represent something totally new within the crew. Someone who had everything from the start, but chose freedom above it all. And if you stop to think of the Straw Hats as a reflection of the world, each one from a different place, each with a unique past, Loki fills a gap that hasn't been covered yet. Direct royalty. Yeah, Vivi was a princess, but she never actually joined the crew, even though in my heart she'll always be a Straw Hat. Loki, on the other hand, could be the first true noble to leave everything behind to sail with pirates. A gesture that, in the middle of all the current chaos, would hit like a bomb. And with Imu now attacking with Conqueror's haki on a continental scale, the whole world is watching Elbaf. So if Loki joins Luffy right now, in the thick of it all, it's like he's shouting for the whole world to hear, "This is the side I'm choosing." That's more powerful than any political alliance. It's a move from the heart, the kind of the move Oda loves to show, the kind that turns villages into revolutions and enemies into allies. That was today's content. We hope you liked it and want to share your opinion on the subject. Don't forget to share the video, give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care and stay amazing.